I don't want to go too far and say that communities have the power to solve all our problems because they don't. And I'm sure there's some really bad examples of everything being community based. I couldn't stop in the back of my head thinking
The
about
KKK.
NIMBYs.
That was
Because, well,
community
that's true.
based.
Hey, that we do have the KKK house in this community that's further down there, and we
Indianapolis. I'm kidding.
we all go see, we all go see the KKK house and talk about how bad the guy was who lived there, and it's still. And if I showed you a neighborhood, you'd be able to pick out which one was the KKK house. It's obvious that it was a KKK house, right? You're like, yep, it's that one.
Well, hello, hello, hello. Welcome,
Yes.
audience. Welcome to the Upsiders. They call us your time traveler's guide to the present. We're just looking at the bright side. In fact, we're looking up. That's us. My name's Los, aka your friendly neighborhood Los, also known as the artist formerly known as Los. And as always, I'm
Mm.
joined by
Renewable Bertram
Ooh,
coming at you fresh and recycled every
coming
single
at you
week.
hot.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, I was just at a flea market yesterday,
Hmm,
and specifically for this clothing brand, they're called Everybody World, and they specialize in upcycled materials. They make their cotton out of trash, basically.
okay.
And yeah, so renewable, circular, you know? But so that's good. You're
Ooh,
getting a new and renewed Bertram every single week. But
yeah.
regardless of when you tune in, hopefully you're subscribed, you're following the podcast, you're giving this a thumbs up if your podcast player allows you to, or
Ordering from us on Grubhub or Toast.
that's right, we're on there.
Put your put your order in. We'll deliver it to you.
Amazon Prime, if that's your thing.
Yeah.
Probably think about canceling that, but for different reasons. Anyway,
Oh,
I don't want to get political. We are
okay.
political. What are we talking about here? But anyway,
Not me,
hopefully you
brother.
tuned in. But the whole objective is of the upside is in the midst of all of these problems, issues populating your
It's
feed, your
chaos.
timeline, your algorithm, we want to point out to you that there's actually those individuals, those entities working on solutions. And we want to highlight them so they have your
Mm.
attention. And hopefully you have a little more optimism of where we go from here. So
Are you saying we fight back against the algorithm, Los, while the algorithm prioritizes negative news and all that nasty output?
I
Where
think
where your fight back against the algorithm?
I think they call that rage bait, and we're here to
Oh man.
beat
So
down
what
the
you're
rage
saying
bait.
is, yeah,
Ooh,
so what you're saying is
yeah,
by listening to us and by clicking like and by
yeah,
putting us in that feed of
yeah.
yours, maybe your feed's gonna get a little bit more positive.
Ooh,
All of a sudden that algorithm's gonna start
ooh,
going, let's
ooh,
throw you
ooh.
some more positive stuff.
I think so. You might start seeing more sunshine, rainbows,
Mm.
stars in your timeline. I,
Andrew Huberman.
no, not that, but some
I'm sorry, I
Zoran.
apologize.
But anyway, great. So today, what the heck are we talking about, Bertram?
I said I was renewable Bertram because we are
Mm.
talking about renewable energy, but
Woo!
not just any renewable energy, community-based renewable energy, my friend.
Community based.
Yeah.
So, Bertram, what is the upside to having it community based as it pertains to renewable energy?
Well, specifically, it would be targeting a lot of issues with renewable energy. When I started doing some of my research for this week, there's some people that were doing some TED Talks years ago about, hey, renewable energy isn't all it's cracked up to be. Is that fair?
Why would they say that?
Oh, they were talking about how some of the interviews, and I have them in the show notes. They were mentioning how it could be, renewable energy is very helpful to target climate change, but can not necessarily target the environment and help the environment. I know there was one talking about how wind turbines can actually, take out endangered species and things like that. Just some stuff I guess I didn't think about, Los, and I need to investigate further. I wish I could say I put about 50 hours into this episode this week, but I didn't. I focused more on the upside, right? And so one of the well many of the problems that happen with renewable energy is enforced blackouts, runaway energy bills, wildfires, faulty transmissions lines, and I specifically wanted to point out that in one of the show notes they said global energy markets and the utility-led energy model have historically prioritized profit over people, whereas community energy offers an alternative energy system that serves and supports citizens in their transition to renewables. Like many things we talk about this on this podcast, uh, most things are very good when they are community based. No,
Yeah, I think all the bad stuff you're talking about just sounds like
not always.
the state of Texas. But no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I am not picking on you guys.
A lot of people don't mess with Texas. That's
Um,
we need
yeah,
those.
we need everyone, right? Says the Californian. But okay. So where are we seeing this? Like, what does a community owned renewable energy project look like?
Okay, so the first one that I looked into was in Brooklyn. There was this place called Uprose. It was founded in 1966. It was Brooklyn's oldest Latino community-based organization. It's intergenerational, multiracial, nationally recognized community organization, and they promote sustainability and resiliency. And so they've been doing a lot of things since they've been here since 1966, and their community-based project is called Sunset Park Solar. Uh, Man, if you want to, do you want to share the screen, Los? Are we going back to sharing screens
Oh,
today?
don't mind if I do.
Oh yeah, pull it up, young Jamie.
Oh, Jamie, pull it up.
Let me get that Sunset Park Solar, please.
Okay. Um, yeah, but go on, go on.
Yeah, it is New York's first community-led solar project dedicated towards providing tangible benefits to Sunset Park residents and businesses. It will be owned and operated by a partnership between Uprose, and I believe they have a bunch of other partners that are involved that are in the community. They are a climate justice organization, and household and small businesses are invited to sign up for more information about how they, can participate in the project and start saving money on their Con Edison bills while supporting clean energy. Now, one of the issues that I did know, the downside is when you're doing a lot of these small scale projects, it's very easy to gum up the works a little bit and have some issues. Yeah, that's Uprose over there. So that's the company who started this project in 2022, I think, maybe 2021. Uh, and I Here's my issue, Los. Here's what makes me nervous in my research. I don't even know if this Sunset Park Solar is functioning yet.
Hmm.
It makes it sound like if you go to their website that there was a project update in 2023, and then in my research I found it's kind of hard to get these things going up. It's a bit of a startup. This although the idea has been around since like 2017, I think is when some of these projects started. This one I don't know if it's fully taken off yet. It could be tough, especially when it comes to funding.
Wow. Spans all the way back to 2008.
Oh, dang. Okay. Yeah,
PDF that they have
Uprose.
on their site. Yeah.
You were on Uprose's site. That is bringing solutions to Brooklyn and beyond.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So very interesting. Very interesting. Heavily community based, to your point. Uh,
Yeah.
and just a great goal that takes into consideration the community, but just the neighborhood, the borough at large. Shout outs to
Yes, and
Brooklyn. I love Brooklyn.
absolutely. And I didn't pull up any European examples, but one of my show notes noticed that Europe's early efforts to transition to renewable energy in the 80s were driven specifically by community-owned wind farms, specifically in Germany and Denmark. They were to increase environmental awareness. So, you know, this idea is 40 years old, 45 years old.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Support Uprose, y'all. Look it up. Like Bertram says, it's always in our show notes. We always have our resources there. So
Yeah.
yeah, check them out. So yeah, that's interesting. Okay, but you spoke of Europe, no examples visually, but why why do we see more there's more examples it feels like in Europe than in the US? Could we speak to that?
Mm. Do you want me to say something bad about my country, Los?
No, I'm not just raising the question, right?
They seem to be a lot of leaders on climate change and bio efficiency and all those things, right? I mean, th- there's a lot of with thinking about Finland and the Nordic countries. They take pollution very seriously, and there's a lot of environmentalists over there. Historically, America has been tycoonish in how they get things done. Was that with? I don't have any show notes to back that up, but would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even in some of the notes that Bertram provided to us, just noting that going back to what, 40, 50 years, community efforts in Europe um, around renewable energy, um, have been in motion, right? So, and I think that just speaks more, like you just said, American efforts are very tycoonish, right? It's survival of the fittest, who could
Yeah.
establish and drive things on their own and maximize profit. We're
We're
ways
still
in
pretty new. We're trying to find our edge, you know.
yeah
We're just pups in the world.
yeah, and then call it a generalization, but what we've seen more so in Europe is that there's a it's a bit more collective generally than what you see here in America. It's very individualistic. Not saying that doesn't exist in Europe, but yeah, when you see that, just even something as simple as, oh, the Paris Climate Agreement. Notice
Yeah.
that that isn't Paris, Texas, because there was always been more of a and the second time I mentioned Texas, I don't mean to pick on Texas, but it just speaks to, yeah, there's just a lot more of a concentrated effort to do things in Europe, and I think they were maybe early to see, the read the tea leaves, if you will, of
Oh, yeah.
the impact of industrialization, um, and how it impacts our environment more so than here in the States, where yeah, you just don't see as
Mm.
many of these efforts as we would want.
Yeah, in our show notes, in the earth.org article about power to the people, an overview of community energy, a report by the Institute for Local Self-Reliance references a 2011 study that found 45% of residents of a German townhome to community-owned wind turbines had a positive opinion of future local wind development, compared to only 16% in another town with a wind project owned largely by outside entities. So it seems like having community owned wind turbines is becoming more valuable in this. I mean, it's 14 years ago, so I'd be curious to see something a bit more recent, but it seems like I think it was man, why am I blanking on his name? Oh, the gangster gardener, Ron Finley. He
Yeah.
said, when kids grow kale, kids eat kale. If you want to change
Mhm.
the community, you got to start with the composition of the soil. And when kids grow kale, kids eat kale. So when kids build wind turbines, kids love wind turbines. It's a sense of pride, especially. I don't know what you guys do in your neighborhood, but my neighborhood really builds around the park, right? We all kind of come together. I got the park right down the street, and everybody kind of comes together to take care of it, and you feel a sense of pride, a sense of ownership. So I imagine it's very similar when you have some of these renewable energies based in and they're community based, community bought, community built.
Absolutely.
Mm,
Absolutely. And it just seems as America is the United States of America. Don't ever call it America, because America takes up, there's North America, South America, but the US here. We're ripe for this kind of thing because we have two of both areas of focus. We have a lot of rural land here. There's a lot of farms here in the States, as well as a lot of metropolitan areas. So it's
yeah.
like you could there could be so much, it could be completely transformative, right? So what you're doing at the farm level in terms of the crops and maybe the infrastructure you're putting in place, and then how that can trickle over to the cities that we live in, and taking some of the lessons that we've learned in
Mhm.
the farms and applying them into metropolitan areas. But yeah, there's some efforts
Man,
in motion, and yeah, that could be a template, a prototype, if you will, to where we go from here.
I put in the show notes the IHRB, which, okay, what does that stand for? It doesn't say what it stands for, Lois. I can't. Human Rights in Business. Yeah,
Yes.
the Institute for Human Rights in Business. Okay, well, that's pretty cool. Right on.
Mhm.
They specifically talked about the structure. How does it work? What is and it talks about the ownership structure. The community has full ownership of the energy development. The community may have a majority ownership, while other stakeholders, such as traditional energy developers, participate as partners. When I researched some of the issues with renewable energy, specifically in communities, one of the issues was traditional energy developers don't really like doing that if they can't control everything. So there's what's the incentive for traditional energy developers to come in there and make some community based stuff that they're ultimately going to have to give power up to. The third alternative is that energy projects can be driven by energy developers with communities acquiring a minority ownership stake in the project. So less community based, right? Less community owned. What I thought was interesting was the communities reap most of the social and economic advantages, such as jobs, energy supply, and financial returns. I was on the road yesterday, Los. You know,
Mhm.
there's no more toll booth operators.
Really?
Man, remember when that was a job?
Yeah.
Hey, man, for all you kids out there that are listening to this, there used to be a job where this guy would go in this little tiny booth for seemingly forever, for days at a time. And he would just sit in the booth and you would drive up in a car and you would throw dimes at him and pennies and nickels and occasionally a quarter and you throw it at him and
You
then he
push
would
a
raise
button.
this little gate. Yeah, and you could keep going. This man was able to buy, a two-car garage. He was able to feed a six-person family off of doing this job. And it wasn't that long ago, by the way. It was after the Oregon Trail came out, the video game. So post Oregon Trail, this guy was still doing this and making bank, uh, and it's gone now. And one of the things I'm very interested in, especially as AI slowly kills us all, is that go back to watch our AI episode if you don't believe me. So, uh, all these jobs are just disappearing. What are we supposed to do with our lives? I have no idea. And what I like about this is a very good answer for what you should be doing with your life. Could you imagine, Los, you're in your beautiful house or your apartment.
Mhm.
You you get up in the morning, get up at 9 a.m., you walk outside, and right across the street, there's this energy grid, and you just go and maintain it for a few hours, give everybody the energy, and then you come back and make yourself some lunch. Doesn't that sound nice?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey,
Nice little
so this
sandwich.
thing could, yeah, let's go back to community-based jobs. Why are we all commuting? Oh man, I got this job. It's a 45-minute morning commute. Hey, let's all try to work in our communities if possible. Go build a fence. I thought that was cool.
I agree. I agree. So,
I also, oh, go ahead.
oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to talk. I also, one of the things that I like to do on this podcast is every time we read about something cool that's going on, like the repair cafes or anything of that nature, I like to look up if Indianapolis is doing it. Because I don't know if you know this, but Indianapolis is the greatest city in the country right now. We got
So I
the
hear from
WNBA
my
All
friend
Star
Bertram.
game. Yeah, man, they had the Royal Rumble and the WNBA All-Star game, and I think we had all the All-Star game last year. Just man, we're just kicking. If the Colts start winning, we might be something here. And so I wanted to see. Well, we also have really great nonprofits, right? We
Yeah.
have some really good companies that are trying to do some amazing things. Stay tuned for there's a homelessness thing that I want to tell you about at some point. So they solved homelessness, Los.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
it's going to be eradicated.
It's just
Yeah,
it's just in.
yeah. This just in Indianapolis has solved the homelessness epidemic. And so I like this site called Mere Indy. And Tyler Fenwick, April 26, 2024, had an article about community solar. Generally refers to a facility that subscribers share. They receive credits on their electricity bills. A landfill in Indy will soon become home to community solar. So that's been the last year. I guess there's a $117 million grant funding this community solar project. It has a 5-year timeline. Um, The former landfill has the potential to host an 8 to 12 megawatt solar field. For comparison, the solar farm at Indianapolis International Airport is only 25 megawatts over 128 acres. Wow.
Wow.
So take a look, and what I like about that is, wherever you're living, if you're living in Atlanta, look up some of this renewable energy in communities and see what you can find, and then
What if
get
you live in
involved.
Texas? I just had to say it one more time. Sorry, Texans. There goes our viewer and listener base from Texas. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I've alienated them. I'm sorry. Mom,
Gary just logged off.
I know. Gary from Plano.
Yeah.
Noreen
Victoria.
from Galveston.
Victoria, I coincidentally from Victoria.
Javier sitting on the Guadalupe River, uh, with his little radio. He just logged
Oh,
on.
I do also see the Environmental Law and Policy Center. I'll make sure this is also in the show notes. They have some some community-owned solar projects on this little map here.
Hmm.
Oakland, California has the People Power Solar Cooperative. Minneapolis has the Cooperative Energy Futures Project. Cleveland has the Ho Book
Whoa,
Club. The
Cleveland.
whole the whole block club. Excuse
Drew
me. Yeah,
Carey?
even man, even Cleveland, Cleveland rocks. Northampton, Massachusetts has Co-op Power, and University Park, Maryland has the University Park Community Solar. So, like many things, like go back and listen to our episode on repair cafes. Maybe this is something that's going to start popping up a little more often. Maybe it could be the start of something. We just pushing that big boulder up the hill, and we just need to get it to the top and let it fall on down,
Let's
brother.
do it. Let's do
Yeah.
it. For all you conservatives out there,
What?
Ronald Reagan was in support of community owned projects and in fact co-ops.
Mm,
Just wanted to sprinkle that out there.
okay. They all love Reagan.
Yeah, they do. Great, Bertram. So what was your takeaway from this?
Mm. I don't want to go too far and say that communities have the power to solve all our problems, because they don't. And I'm sure there's some really bad examples of everything being community based. I couldn't stop in the back of my head thinking
The
about
KKK.
NIMBYs.
That was
Because, well,
community
that's true.
based.
Hey, that we do have the KKK house in this community that's further down there, and we
Indianapolis. I'm kidding.
we all go see, we all go see the KKK house and talk about how bad the guy was who lived there, and it's still. And if I showed you a neighborhood, you'd be able to pick out which one was the KKK house. It's obvious that it was a KKK house, right? You're like, yep, it's that one, just based on the time and how they lived. Um, and in the back of my head, I kept thinking of Los and how much he hates NIMBYs.
Oh, I hate him so much.
Oh man,
I know this show is all about love, but god damn, I hate NIMBYs, man. If you ask me, like everything that's going wrong in this country,
yep.
I could attribute to NIMBYs. Yeah, basically. Yeah. I say,
And
why is
meanwhile, I
everything
was
so
still, yeah.
expensive? NIMBYs. Why is my rent so high? NIMBYs. Why is traffic so bad? NIMBYs. It's
Yeah.
it really gets down to all of that. But yeah, if
And
you
in my
want to hear more about that, go to our previous podcast where we did an episode
mad,
dedicated
mad
to NIMBYs,
world.
and I went off. I went
If you want
off.
me to put that in the show notes, I will. Put that mad,
Maybe
mad world
spare them.
NIMBYs. Oh man, Los. Normally on that podcast, I was the one boiling people in oil. On that one, Los said some things that those
I
words.
need a
Some words
presidential
do
pardon
hurt.
for that.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. You need to join Hunter Biden in that one. That was shout outs to our pre-production meeting.
Yeah.
Uh, and I was thinking about it in the back of my head, because this sounds great, right? But what's going to happen, Los, when that community has that access to that power grid, and
Hmm.
somebody tries to come in from out of town? They're like, can I get in over here? And the
Hmm.
NIMBY shut that down. They're like, no, this power grid is ours. You stay off of it.
Hmm.
This is our community power grid. And it's always some racist stuff. So, just some really messed up things. And so I see the downside of this. I'm curious to see how some communities are able to do this long term.
Yeah.
Right. I'd like to see some data on a 20-year project where this community has owned this power, this renewable energy, and it totally worked out fine. I'm sure there's going to be some awful things too.
Well, I think to combat that and try and mitigate stuff like that, because that's a valid concern, is similar to what do we call those? Unions. Geez, why am I blanking out here? But similar to unions, taking the framework, but then applying policy to it so it protects it, right?
Hmm.
So, hey, communities are all in charge. And that's why I've deviated a lot from my previously more libertarian um
Mm,
for the philosophies, in which that, okay, it's great when you have a collective, if you have
yeah.
people all on the same page aligned, but what happens when one of those breaks? What happens when you get some disruption that wasn't foreseen and there's no sort of guardrails to prevent that? There's no enforcement there mechanism. Create some policy around that. Say, hey, if so and so creates some sort of a community project, then there's these sort of parameters in place that protect this. So someone can't just storm in, with a very robber baron attitude, that they could just take over.
I'm looking at you, George Hurst.
Yeah, that they could just storm in there and disrupt things and take over your project there, right? So having something like that, so creating the effort and then creating policy around that effort so it could protect it, and that could be preserved, and it's still sort of try and NIMBY proof it, right? So it could still evolve over time. Won't just be sort of preserved in amber and just, no way for it to grow. So I'm more optimistic in that, as long as we're vigilant, right? And we're looking ahead and we want to protect it and we take action.
Man, that's beautiful,
I'm looking at
Los.
the upside, baby.
Oh, yeah. I need, maybe I haven't been doing that well this episode. Uh Looking, yeah, I want to see where this goes.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful, but I'm also reserved because one of the things that in my research, it seems like it's really hard to get this going right now. So maybe we need legislation, maybe we need some successful examples. It seems like every example that I looked up, it kind of stalled a little bit. Not like our good friends cul-de-sac, where that thing seems up and running, right? They built that community, that car-free community, and it seems to be doing fine, and it's a successful project. No, this one I'd like to see more long-term successful examples.
Yeah. All in all, I think there needs to be a culture shift, right? Because that's what really protects us. Is if we have this idea, we have this mindset that it needs to work in this way, in the sense that, hey, we're sick of just paying so much for energy, right? We're sick of these bills and costs creeping up on us in a very opaque way where we get no explanation. Like, let us be in control of that experience, do it together, work with one another. Like, I feel like that's going to be a more sustainable way, just not just for the environment, but just from a financial standpoint and just from a control standpoint, right? When the community will always have your back, it's like, that's where you'll be able to lean on it. But right now, it's like, oh, we have these fears of someone can come in and just disrupt this. What if someone with more money comes in and disrupt this? What if a company takes over? What if we offshore a lot of this stuff?
Yeah.
No, like when it starts and ends with the community, okay. Even if things go awry, like you'll still be like, okay, it failed this way, but the community will be able to fix it. We'll be able to get our heads
Mhm.
together and fix it. So,
Well, and one of my big action items for this was that at the park that I was just talking about,
uh-huh.
they normally have the Solar United Neighbors. They're usually there, and they've always been really nice people and always very welcoming. And I was thinking about joining them because when we bought our house, there's solar panels on the garage, and Man, I've been in a brutal fight with the power company because they just apparently power companies can charge you whatever they want, and you have to pay it. And they weren't taking off the credits that my solar panels were getting. I could
Mm.
see the solar panels they're working and they should be taking money off, but they're not. And I've been in like a year and a half battle with these people. Listen, every time I call them, they're like, "Oh, we don't have. Let me just have you talk to somebody else." And I did look at the article that I put in the show notes at Mere Indy, and apparently the Indiana Assembly has phased out net metering, which is meant to incentivize homeowners by crediting them for excess energy they generate. And there's an Indy Star article that I put in here where it talks about the back and forth about how I guess the government, essentially like the Indiana House was like, no, let's end a lot of this stuff. The Senate enrolled Act 309. That's a bill phasing out the program over several years. And so I think I might be screwed, man. I think they're trying to take away my solar panel money that I should be getting. I'm gonna need that back, Los. So
Yeah. Need that
to be
back.
continued.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Why are they there if they're stealing my energy, Los? They're taking my energy and not giving me anything for it.
I don't like that. Not at all.
Yeah.
Nope. All
Don't they
right.
know I'm renewable Bertram?
You're renewable, Bertram. You go round and around and around.
I'm back.
Um, Great. So yeah, hey, get to know your neighbors. Get to get to understand what their goals, what's going on in their lives. Like what are the issues you all are facing? You're gonna find you have a lot in common and that you could come together and fix some of these issues together,
Yeah.
including with renewable energy. Because the thing about the status quo is, right, with fossil fuels, right, non-renewable energy. Like from an environmental standpoint, we all know about the sustainability of renewable versus non-renewable, but just like from a money standpoint, it's not even renewable. Let's say you struck gold, right? Black gold, like in your backyard, right?
Beverly Hillbillies, Texas tea.
So yeah, exactly. Something like that happens. Okay, now all of a sudden you could be rich, right? Now you
Mm.
have this gold mine that is pumping oil out. People could buy it and you could sell it. What your backyard looks like today won't look the same tomorrow and the day after that because you're going to have to expand. Oil is this big Ponzi scheme basically. Your ways like you have it like it's never like it if you've ever seen one of my favorite movies, There Will Be Blood, right?
Oh yeah.
Struck oil.
You
What
drink that
happened?
milkshake.
Just expanded, became corrupt and corrupt. There's always more you need because it is a non-renewable source,
Mm.
right? There's a finite amount of that stuff where it is right now. So you're gonna keep having to find more and more places. But that's the beauty about renewable energy, right? If there's wind in a specific area, that wind's gonna keep coming back and back and back. If
Mm.
it's sunshine, it's gonna keep shining and shining and shining. If it's nuclear, if you're into that, it's gonna keep
Oh.
regenerating. What are you gonna do with that waste? That's for a less positive
Not in my
podcast.
backyard.
Exactly. So, but yeah, think of that, right? Think of the true term of sustainable, right? When you think of your community, that's sustainable, right? You guys are together all the time,
Oh.
right? You get to know your goals all the time. This isn't a boardroom. This isn't like, employees just doing it for the check. This is where you live. This is where your family is. This is where your
Mhm.
friends are.
It's your backyard.
You want to preserve that, right? So think of that, get to know your neighbors, get along with one another, and figure this out. So I didn't say it. Figure it out.
Man,
So that's
you're
my
you're
word. That's it for tonight. Bertram, you have any final words?
just I appreciate you, man. You're an orator. You're
Stop it.
Henry Clay.
Stop it. I'm just I'm
You're Patrick Henry.
I'm just sweet green over here. I'm just giving you word salads. I'm not that deep.
Man, you're so good.
Anyway,
You're
thank you everyone. Thank you everyone for
yeah.
listening and watching. If you're watching, yeah, leave a like, leave a thumbs up, give a review, spread the word on this podcast, friends, family, worst enemies, anyone in between. And I'll see you on the other side, but not just on that side, but I'll see you on the upside. Have a good one, y'all, and see you next time. Bye bye. Mahalo.